since 1929
Wow.
for Iowa at Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of those, first time since you know, prohibition and shit like that.
Wisconsin right now is going through what Iowa went through, as you remember, with Hayden at the end there.
Yeah.
And when a lot of the bottom stuff dropped out, and holy shit, they lost to Iowa State at Kinnick.
Yep, that was the big red flag. All right,
Yeah.
let's get this ball rolling here. Hello there, and welcome to the Old Head Hawkeye Rapid Reaction Podcast. I am Rob Howe, joined by Mark Morehouse. It is Saturday, October the 11th, about 9:22 p.m. It's been a long day for me. I had freshman volleyball this morning with my daughter at 9 a.m. So we're going to keep this one tight, Mark. And I don't
Yeah,
think it
yeah.
needs to go beyond tight because, as we said before we started recording, this was kind of just a surgical dis just dismemberment of Wisconsin. It was just run the football, turn them over, and just beat the hell out of them.
Yeah, Kirk Ferentz surgery with a mallet. Basically, this was Iowa went medieval on their asses, and they got out the blow torches, and yeah, it was torture for Wisconsin and for a Wisconsin program that once was mighty. Did one time was sort of the aggressor with the ground game, and that none of that's left. It's like I think Luke Fickell thinks he's still coaching at Ohio State or playing there, but it's just been a mismatch. I've called it, and this I think the heart of our podcast tonight should just be the fact that Wisconsin is now a literal case study for what Beth Getz should not do with her next hire. But what is the lesson? So I don't really know. I have not read a ton of it, but so I know there's probably some specific reasons along the lines of Wisconsin not being healthy at quarterback. That is a big thing. But Wisconsin was never going to. When's the last time Wisconsin had a quarterback? And Russell Wilson doesn't count because he was a
No.
transfer. But beyond that, I mean, this is not a program that had quarterbacks raining out of the trees. So that was problematic. But so Beth Getz, look at this. I mean, I called it, I think on the Blue Sky, I called it Wisconsin's going through an Alfording. Luke Fickell was the exact right coach to hire. I mean, it made a lot of sense. I thought about, yeah, that's the guy. I mean, that's a different direction. It's going to be interesting. Man, it just it went thud, and it went thud fast. And so, yeah, Beth Getz, case study the shit out of this because get all your ADs and pull it all apart because this is not, you can't afford this. Wisconsin's going to go through 10 years probably, with Fickle rolling into a new coach. It's going to be 6-7 years of nothingness. And when it goes cold for a program like Iowa, like Wisconsin, how does that come back? So it's going to take a turnaround coach. And I don't know if the AD who made this hire gets that second chance. So Beth Getz, yeah, you're up. You're up, yo.
It's going to be soon. And yes, Wisconsin is not good at football. Indiana is really good at football, and the world is upside down from what you remember growing up. And it's kind of where we are, and that's kind of a cyclical part of college football. And I think it gives you a greater appreciation of what Kirk Ferentz has been able to do at Iowa to keep it at a level, not hitting a bottom out
Hmm.
other than 2012, and that was just kind of a wonky type of year. But I think they I think they have an identity this year, Mark. I think very good in the trenches on both sides of the ball, and I know people get tired of hearing the old term bullies of the Big Ten, and I'm not sure Iowa is the bully of the Big Ten, but they can bully teams, and that's probably how they're going to win football games this year because against a Wisconsin team that we talked about that was pretty much lifeless, they really didn't even need a quarterback tonight that was a difference maker. They just needed somebody to hike the ball to.
And that's kind of what. Actually, no, I'll take that back. Gronowski was fine. I mean, he was not. You were right. You said that perfectly, Rob. Didn't have to be a difference maker. A little bit hurt, and so probably Wisconsin game. You hope to get your injured-ish quarterback with the knee thing through. Yeah, they didn't have. He was. It was a stress-free night for Iowa's offense. I was very impressed with Iowa's offensive line. Oh my goodness. But the defense. So, yeah, I think the turnover. I'm not sure what Iowa's plus minus is this year with turnovers, but I think everyone was kind of waiting for one of those games. And in Wisconsin's first half went punt, interception, interception, punt, fumble, and then turnover and downs, and then another punt to throw to throw nitroglycerin on the fire. Yeah, so defense, opportunistic, a very Kirk Ferentz game, just a punch out, and quarterback. I would have taken Gronowski at one series earlier. I'm glad that they got to see Heklinski. It's cool and it's smart. A little bit of an investment, just a little bit of investment in number three, so he doesn't crap his pants in case his number comes up.
Yeah, and who
So
knows?
totally sensible game. I mean, even so Iowa fan would have gotten to me with, oh, why didn't they get number three quarterback some time? They would have gotten to that. So hey, I'm beating you to the punch. They got number three some time. So hey, no, seriously, we've seen how valuable that can be, and I think uh, Iowa quarterbacks had some things that you can't fix in the last few years, but I think everything I see is fixable. Um, I wonder how far they'll get with Gronowski, but you know, it's it's a one and done situation. So it's kind of they pulled the cord and they're flying out of the plane here.
I think my concern, maybe not even a concern, just my question about him, Mark, is his accuracy,
Yeah,
especially in
absolutely.
key situations. And he completed a high percentage at South Dakota State. It's not South Dakota State, and defenses are different, and they adjust to you within games, let alone before games and between games. And he's got to make the throw to the tight end on that first series. Probably keeps that going. Again, didn't need to be a difference maker, but he's going to have to make some throws to win some games this year. And he could still do that, but that's just my question with him is will he be able to when the time comes?
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I can't remember the kid's name anymore. So Rob, I'm getting to the point where I can't remember names of the kids, but it
Hey,
was a
Jerry
big.
Montgomery's son started at middle linebacker
I
tonight.
saw that. I ran into him at the combine a couple years ago, and I was like, Jerry, you're not going to remember me, but I covered you when you were telling me about. I don't know. He had a really good personal story, and he told it to me at the Alamo Bowl. He's like, "Oh yeah, God, I remember you." So that was nice. But yeah, he played depth chart on defense. I do think they played quite a few defensive linemen today, and one thing. And I don't know the numbers anymore, Rob, but one thing that fans have to remember when you go on the road in the Big Ten, you have a smaller roster. You can only take, I want to say it's 85 still. So if you're taking eight or nine defensive linemen and you intend to play them, that is super healthy. You're gonna be able to rotate guys in road games. You're gonna be stronger in the fourth quarter rather than okay, my roster's a little dinged at corner. So I got to take some defensive linemen out of that and maybe move some corners in that we might not even get to. So people don't understand that shortened roster. Yeah, it can mess with your head a little bit, but so totally healthy. No stress tonight. No stress at all.
No. And again, it was foundational football, you know, basic old school football, and down two running backs that were higher up on the depth chart, and Jazz Patterson and Terrell Washington Jr. The three guys they played tonight, again, Kamari Moulton was the starter coming into the season, so he's your number one. But the other guys, Xavier Williams and Nolan, is it, uh, what the heck is it? Nolan McLean? No, I got his name wrong. The young kid, the freshman. Sorry, bad.
McNeil.
McNeil. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah,
Say, but all three of those guys were effective tonight and all run a little bit differently. And again, Wisconsin knew they were coming and still could not stop them.
Here is they did and they did not. Iowa seven plus 10 plus rushing plays, seven big plays rushing.
Oh,
Including the play to Weechin, but McNeil had one. Williams, Isaiah Williams had two, or Xavier Williams. I'm sorry, Xavier Williams had two, and then Kamari Moulton. What a game! The running backs, they're kind of no name-ish right now. You kind of wait for one of these guys to sort of stamp his name on one, and maybe that's what they got out of Kamari Moulton tonight.
yes. And I kind of was focusing a little bit on the tight ends too, Mark, because they haven't been involved in the passing game since Tim Lester took over. They're very involved in the blocking game, and
Yes.
those guys do a really good job. So I wanted to kind of tip my hat to them too, because we talked about the offensive line and the running.
Yeah.
Those guys are a big part of it as well.
So tonight I got to the story. There was a tight end way down on the list, but he ended up having to play some meaningful minutes in the Pinstripe Bowl. And he made a great catch, and I wrote a whole story on it. The kid went through some bunch of medical stuff, like 5 surgeries that year. So and I just kind of had that back in my head. I was like, hey, here's a great time to use that for a sidebar. I think Iowa tight end tonight needed that kind of catch. Needed the because they're
Yeah,
kind of no names right now. They're not George Kittles out there running around. They're kind of no name-ish right now. And I like the fact that they tonight kind of stamped the position, stamped their names in this game a little bit.
I did see that from Matt Weitzel earlier on one of the social media feeds that the 37 points scored by Iowa in Madison are the most in the history. And Mark and I were talking before we started recording. It's one of those games where you're putting the notebook together after you're like, okay, these are all the things that haven't happened since whatever 1950, 1930, whatever the year is that you want to choose, or maybe the 80s when Wisconsin was really bad as well. And but it's been a while for a lot of those things. And last year in Iowa City, 42-10 Iowa over Wisconsin. This year, 37-0. That's a stark contrast to what we were used to when we covered this series, Mark.
So for whatever reason, Rob, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but when we covered them, so say 2000 to 2020, um, it felt like when Wisconsin beat Iowa, it really hurt the shit out of Iowa. I mean, it was like it kept Iowa from winning the Big Ten West, which I kind of miss now. I kind of welcome UCLA to the Big Ten West with a couple of nice wins, but no. Um, I like that for Iowa. I think that um, sorry, I lost my train of thought here. It's getting late for me. But
Me as well.
where was I going?
By the way,
Anyways,
we're in the
oh,
middle
tight
of.
ends. I needed to make a point, and I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to give people, if people are listening and we appreciate it. Milwaukee 3, Cubs 1 in the middle of the eighth. So
Eesh.
kind of up against it. 3 outs to go in the season. Are you a Cubs guy? I can never
Yeah,
figure out the
yeah,
Midwest stuff, man. I'm a Mets. I'm a
yeah.
new.
No, I'm a Cubs guy, but I'm
Okay.
a Packer fan mostly. So I bet I'm going to put on the beer hat now since I the yarn and beer can hat. It's old style. So it's Packers colors, but it's old style hat. So this is as cubbish I can get
I get that, man.
in
That's a good combo. Good look.
on the fly. This was actually hanging on a giant pike over my desk, which appears to have moved. Wow. Oh, never mind. But anyway, beating I think Robin, one thing I was kind of blue skying about during the game was I can't remember the last time I'm pretty sure Daryl Hazel's the last coach that Kirk directly put hit the eject button on, to put it the nice way. Daryl Hazel, I think after Iowa beat him, and I think he was out that next Tuesday. Glenn Mason, which in a sort of a in a weird way, I would have loved for Kirk to have his his job. But no, Mason made it through the bowl game, so he survived. So maybe Danny Hope, but no, Danny Hope survived. I mean, I think he was fired after Iowa, but they made it through. Does it's going to be really hard for Wisconsin to march Luke Filka out there again next week. They're going to start to put the kids through some shit, and I think Fickle's going to start feeling that because I think one thing that we can all agree on this on the broadcast tonight was the boos were very vocal. I think Fox did its best because Fox doesn't want the product to get mud on it. But man alive, they're not happy up there, and I was surprised that they even had a jump around.
Also not happy in State College, but that's a different podcast.
Oh my goodness!
Um,
Do you think? Do you think James Franklin's fired?
he's it's just it's kind of that pull for the athletic, the tug of war in the mind of the athletic director. Do we give this guy the rest of the season? He recruited these kids, let him see what he can do to finish out the year, versus we got to get started on getting the new guy. So you're gone interim. Let's get this thing rolling. We're going to start networking and doing uh, connecting with candidates and doing, giving ourselves as much time as possible and not waiting till December where it's got to be speed dating. So
Right.
interesting situation in both of those. And the Franklin one's fascinating because the guys won a ton of games there, but this thing seems to be imploding.
Yeah, yeah, and the high expectations, and I believe Drew Allen was hurt today too. So
Out for the year.
all minuses for James Franklin. So for Beth Getz, you got to literally watch what happens when you hire the wrong coach. Rob, what is so she's what? She'll be in her second, third year when she hires a new coach, for a new football coach, probably fourth year somewhere. So she's put together her administration. It's I'm assuming I don't follow it as closely as I should, I guess, to have a podcast. But uh, she
Nobody takes this podcast seriously, man.
no, I know that's great. So, but seriously, so she's put together her best and brightest. She should be in full force. So what is the takeaway? What does she take away from looking at Wisconsin? Now, I kind of labored an Alfording, and I kind of put it to Iowa fan today on Blue Sky. Is Iowa is the Alfording over for Iowa? And the general consensus was yes. Fran ended the Alfording, but man, it took him a while. So Alford one bad hire, and so the hire that Bob Bowlesby made with Alford, in my opinion, was the right hire at the time. Rob, remember he was the hot name. It made so much sense, and boy oh boy, it shit the bed pretty quickly. And that's the same thing at Wisconsin with Fickle. It's an Alfording. I mean, maybe Fickle's a nicer guy. Maybe he's more likable. I don't know, but the product is the same, and now Wisconsin fan is cheering for. So not so much cheering for the team, but counting the buyout, which in college football is just not a lot of fun. But what, Rob? The one takeaway. What do you think
I
for
don't
Beth?
know if you can. I think each situation, and I know this is going to be a cop out, but each situation is different.
No,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
and I think with this one in particular, um, it was Barry, and then I forget who was after him. Bielema. Then there was a couple other Paul Chris. There were other guys there before Barry, who was the guy. And now you've had Kirk take over for Hayden and be the guy for whatever it is, 27 years.
Hmm.
That's a lot of equity. He's got a lot of guys that worked for him. He's got a lot of guys with connections to the university on the staff, alums on the staff. The pull for her to me is, do I go outside the family or do I stay inside the family? That's the toughest decision for her because she's going to have candidates from in the family, but what can she find out of the family? And is that the right fit? Because as you said, Scott Frost or whoever, Steve Alford, the guys that looked like they were going to be good fits and didn't end up being good fits. Do you play it safe and just, all right, I'm going to give Jan Jensen and have her take over for Lisa Bluter?
That's a great point. And so I think she's so I hope they don't hamstring her with the committee. And so when Kirk was hired, I think that committee thing was just too plonky. I like it as in a council situation, a consultant situation. I want to hear their opinions. But if I'm Beth Getz, I in my mind have my committee of five, and I'm going down the list. Where are we at? What do you think? And then she tells them, here's where I'm at, here's what I think. So I think it's going to have to be collective, and it is such an important thing. I don't think, Rob, in sports, I think we're seeing in North Carolina right now in sports, the college football coach is probably the most important some bitch on the goddamn planet.
At least on the campus in terms of exposure. And yeah,
Yeah,
so do you stick with the you know the person the within the family, or do you go for the home run? Do you go for the Kurt Signetti at Indiana and say, okay,
yeah.
we haven't won shit in years. We got this guy, and he's turned it around in a couple years. They go to Oregon and win today. They're legit, and that could be out there for Iowa. So for Beth, I think she's pretty good at what she does. She's already started the process. She's already in her mind
Yes,
what
yes,
conversations.
yes.
She's got a plan in place. Will she be able to carry it out? And how much influence does the outgoing guy have on her decision?
And the money,
Yeah,
the money's still going to be in love with Kirk too, and so the money will be like they might have maybe the biggest say,
yeah,
and,
that's a good point.
and maybe Kirk tells the money he wants Seth Wallace. So I would hope that the power play wouldn't work like that, but we can't discount that because 27 years does buy you a colossal amount of political capital within the football program, believe it or not, and that's going to play out. I mean, that's going to play out good or bad. But I think you're right. I think Beth Getz is smart enough to know that there's a plan. There has to be a plan, and I'm guessing she has. There are five people that she does talk to in council on a given day. The question, does it come down to in-house? Does it come down to the tree, the Hayden tree? Bob, I hate to even say the name, but Bob Stoops is still out there. He's still out there. He's not going to end his career in the XFL, people. I don't think. But he's not going to Oklahoma State either. Uh,
I think they let
um,
him drink beer on the sideline in that league.
you know what? Maybe he's reached island music time, and maybe that's that for him. But but yeah, I think Iowa, good job, and I think um, maybe it's not time to go into too far into who's next. But man, my point every week is the stakes. The stakes. I mean, right now we talk about who's next. Well, look at Indiana today, Rob. That was Iowa beating Michigan at Michigan in 2002.
Yep.
That was one of those sort of games,
I,
like the fish on my wall up here. Uh, that's one you put on the wall. Dang it! So so no, seriously. It's so you're going to get to the point where is Indiana a middle rank? When does the Mark Cuban money keep Indiana where it is? And Indiana's fine. Indiana has a football powerhouse because it has a billionaire who loves sports as an alum. So that might work out pretty well for Indiana. Who's Iowa? Tom Arnold is not Iowa's billionaire. I don't know. But so which teams have billionaires, Rob? And that's the thing that goes through my mind every week. With the undercurrent, the green goo from Ghostbusters is the money. The money pit. Is it going to swallow Iowa or Wisconsin? Is it going to swallow this middle rank up? Is it going to raise one up like in Indiana? So those are the stories that we have to watch percolate, and hope your team just doesn't get washed away by like a Mark Cuban money guy that raises in Indiana and puts Indiana permanently over you because it is gilded then. And that's the stuff about college football that really does keep me up is I feel like all of our programs at least have to have an illusion of a shot to put the torpedo down the heat duct on the Death Star. We got to at least feel like we got a shot in hell, right?
The the socialist tendencies of the Big Ten, which with equal shares for members, that is not going to continue. At some point, Michigan, Ohio State's going to be like, hey, Penn State, hey, we're not giving the same amount of money to Northwestern as, whatever example you want to use. And I was reading something this week. The Big Ten is looking for a $2 billion investment from a private equity firm that
Yeah.
they're getting closer to getting. And when that comes in, that's when the big boys in the Big Ten are going to be like, well, we're going to take a little bit more this time, but there's going to be plenty in the pie for everybody. And it's the power four now with the SEC and the Big Ten, Mark.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
may whittle down to two as
No,
this money gets concentrated in these two leagues.
no, I'm 100% with you on that. I think oh, the equity thing is frightening in that
Yeah.
it's money I'm not sure it needs. But I would say this for the group and for anybody who's a middle ranker, which we all are. Um, so Illinois hosted Ohio State today. It had the big Fox crowd, and that was 20 to nothing before Bielema had his first hot dog. So no, that was a cheap fat joke. I'm sorry. I'm
I knew
sorry.
you were going there, though. It's
So
like,
somebody slapped that one off me. But no. So anyway, that game was null and void. I mean, you're turning that game off. So Iowa fan, do you want that Ohio State game where we're going to drop the proton torpedo from our X-wing right into the heat duct on the Death Star? I'm sorry, you're not. You're not. It doesn't. Luke dies in that one, and Luke dies in yours. So, no, you're probably not going to beat Ohio State or Michigan when they come to your house or whatever. But so on the flip side, and I had a good argument last year with Iowa fans, and mostly I think they're right. The Big Ten can't say no to Ohio State eyes. It can't say no to Michigan eyes. It can't say no to the money. It can't say no to the glitz. Um, that was a full house today down there in Champaign Urbana because Ohio State was there, because Fox was there, because of the amplitude when Ohio State comes to town. So the Big Ten can't say no to that. But my counter to that is okay. Look at the Big 12. Look at the entertaining football coming out week after week after week in the Big 12. Iowa State season's in total jeopardy now. Two tough. I think after today's loss, I think 24-17 Colorado, which I kind of watch on the fourplex. I think they're BYU and then somebody else ranked the next few weeks.
Arizona, one of the Arizona,
Arizona State.
Arizona State, yeah.
So those two games next 2 weeks, I think they're 5-3 right now, or 4-3, 5-3, something like that. And man, a season that maybe was playoff worthy 2 weeks ago is now let's get to a decent bowl game. So just so Big Ten, yeah, you got Michigan, Ohio State. Then you have the Big 12 model, which is going to be different. And so I think there's just a lot of entertaining football because the brands are all created equally.
Yeah, and still a lot of room for, in jockeying for position here in terms of this league and the Big 12 as well. Give you guys a few notes here before we get out.
Yeah.
Hawkeyes have won four straight over the Badgers for the first time since 2002 to 2006. Remember it well.
Pretty good run there. Pretty good run off the line.
Real good run there.
Great running back too. Every year.
Iowa's first shutout over Wisconsin since 1996, 31-0, and the first in Madison since 1929.
Oof.
So those are the numbers we were talking about in terms of it's been a while. This is a good one, Mark. The Hawkeyes are 30-11 in their last 40 rivalry trophy games.
That's got to keep Iowa fan happy, because there were times during my time on the beat when it would flash in my head like, oh shit, when are they going to win one of them damn trophies? I wondered if they would be able to even win the damn Heroes Trophy just because at the time Nebraska seemed like a tall hurdle in the Big Ten. It didn't turn out that way, but that's a hell of a record. I think the turnaround on this trophy game, the Wisconsin game, like I said, it's hey Beth, don't do it, don't do that. Whoever the hot hire is, don't do that, don't do that. No.
Pass.
So yeah, so no, honestly, that's a great stat. Um, Iowa next. Who's it next week?
Couple more for you here, quick.
Oh, go ahead.
79 points in the last 2 years over Wisconsin, the most in a two-game stretch in the series. This is the one I like. The Hawkeyes have rushed for 200 plus yards in three straight games against Wisconsin. 200 plus, three straight games against Wisconsin. Didn't think I'd see
It,
that.
it's going to be pretty cool when Luke Fickle realizes that he's coaching Wisconsin. He may not be quite have grasped that yet because that is atrocious. I mean, that tells you everything you need to know. You don't even need to know the scores. You know that Iowa hoovered those games up like 70s cocaine disco, you know.
But to answer your question a second ago, it is Penn State at Kinnick under the lights next week. So the
Oh,
circus is coming to town.
ooh,
James Franklin
ooh.
Circus will be in Iowa City next week for a night game. I believe that's on NBC. Might
Oh
be
my goodness.
a national one. So that's going to be interesting. Can Penn State circle the wagons, or does Iowa just put the nail in James's coffin and he just doesn't even go back to State College after Iowa City? He just goes wherever, somewhere warm
Another
on the beach.
another chance for Ferris for a knockout on a coach.
And he
So
would
yeah,
love to do it to James Franklin. James Franklin would
yeah,
be high on his list.
James Franklin. So yeah, he kind of turned it around there at Penn State. Kirk kind of had Joe Paterno's number. Let's be honest.
Yep.
Kirk owned that rivalry. Um, and then Franklin got there, and then Bill O'Brien got there, and oof, that happened. I mean, it was over quickly, but man, there was a game at Kinnick that was just brutal. BOB crushed him, and
I think
then
the
yeah,
Franklin thing was the
I don't know what KF's record is against James Franklin. It's not going to be favorable. I just
isn't
know
the
that.
rub the fake injuries with Penn State? I think that's the thing that got Ferentz.
No, that was
I know
Michigan State.
that was them
Remember?
too, but I think Penn State more recently. I think that happened
Maybe
with them
you know
after.
what? You know what? Maybe I think you're right. After I left, I think there was something.
There's some rub between those two, but
Was it the Penn State quarterback getting hurt at Kinnick that kind of turned that game around?
it may have been.
But there was I
Definitely-
think there was something with stalling, a little bit of
Yeah.
stalling. But yeah, no, I can't imagine a lot of Big Ten coaches like James Franklin. He's you ask him what time it is, and 6 hours later, you're sorry you asked. And I imagine there's a lot of blow. Great recruiter, man alive, great recruiter. Maybe it's a statement on where
So
Penn State is, you know.
here's your season, Mark. Iowa is 4-2 with Penn State, Minnesota, and Oregon coming to Kinnick the next 3 weeks. Again,
This
Penn
is
State, Minnesota, Floyd, and then Oregon the next 3 weeks in Kinnick Stadium. Iowa's 4-2, 2-1 in the Big Ten.
bring it. I mean, bring it, Iowa
This is
fans. I
it.
mean,
This is what you want to.
this
This is what you want to do, right?
yeah, make some noise. I mean, maybe it's not going to be a Big Ten championship appearance. Maybe it is. Make some noise. Manage a game with seven explosive or whatever 10 it was running plays tonight. Do that, and then it doesn't matter that your quarterback. I got to check this stat, Rob. I'm sorry.
No, you're
Uh,
good.
Gronowski, Iowa average yards per pass. I can't find it. Where is it? Please,
He
because
did run for another touchdown. He's got 8
he
rushing touchdowns.
completed 17 passes for 107 yards. How do you do that? I mean, how does that even happen? So
It's like
that's like
Nerf. It's like playing with Nerf, a Nerf football.
that's well, I don't even it does where I'm trying to find these in stats.
By the
Okay, here we
way,
go. Here we go. Here we go.
I got to
Offensive.
something after you finish this.
Okay.
So,
So Iowa, average yards per completion, 6.1. Wisconsin was 10.3. 6.1 yards per completion. So
Jesus.
that's what I wanted to get to. The Yak, fantastic for the Hawkeyes, but it's a pretty compressed passing game. And
Yes,
if Iowa
compressed.
can get Scott on our old podcast, would just always call it phone booth football. If the Hawkeyes can keep it in a phone booth, man, and, maybe not going to be a Big Ten championship game, but kind of be like Cool Hand Luke at the end there, and what did George Kennedy say? Raise the roof or ram the roof or something like that, and then they shot Cool Hand Luke. So hey, yeah,
It's
rumble it up.
the
I mean, so seriously, the next 3 games you can get James Franklin fired. You can get maybe you can get Fleck. No, Fleck's Minnesota
Flank's pretty
emeritus.
solid.
He's a Minnesota emeritus because he took into a bowl game once. They took into a bowl game, so God, he's the best coach we've ever had. So no, that's all cool. And then knockout punch with Dan Lanning, Oregon, which what a bitter loss today. But you know what? Indiana controlled that game, and Signetti, he's the Ted Lasso of the Big Ten, man. It's all magic for him.
Iowa's hardest game moving forward might be at USC. We'll see. I still think
Did
Oregon.
they? So I'm not watching.
They beat Michigan, I think, 24-7.
That's what it looked like. Michigan's not
Decisive.
great though. Michigan's not a great team.
That's still a nice win. But USC goes to Notre Dame next week, so that will be interesting as well.
Yeah,
Last thing, and I don't want to end on a negative note, but
sure.
it was as it was happening, I was like, this, I cannot believe this is happening again. Clock management at the end of the first half, bro. The clock
I
manager with the time loss.
I think I went to, so I'm making cookies and I went to get cookies. So what happened? Did they miss something?
It was just letting time run off when you have timeouts and you're driving. It was, you got to go back and watch it to fully appreciate the hair pulling, just pulling your hair out, watching it going, take a timeout, stop the clock. So they ended up basically having to not settle for a field goal, but they got a field goal instead of being able to take a few shots maybe at the end zone. Not that it mattered in the grand scheme of things. It was just, again, poor clock management. I'm sure if you go back on social media, there's probably some conversation about it.
Yeah, I still have
It's
nightmares
kind of like
about.
Fran not taking timeouts, or Fran sitting guys with 2 fouls in the first half when you're watching the lead evaporate. Things like that, like tendencies of coaches or blind spots of coaches that you're like, stop doing that. And yeah, the clock management at the end of the first half tonight was not good.
I asked KF after the Capital One Bowl what he was going to do with the 3 timeouts he had left. And if I remember right, did not really appreciate that question. I am kind of a smartass, though, so I had that coming.
Worked out. That occasion it worked out.
It made for a great lead. It really did. I mean, I think I sent one of those timeouts to Margaritaville, one to Luca Bubak, Texas. It was fun. I made it a game.
It's good to have fun with this stuff. That's what it's all about. And
Hell yes, hell
was
yeah.
tonight was a hell of fun for the Iowa
And so
fans.
yeah, Iowa beating Wisconsin, that was a red wedding, man. Just you know, dancing their blood. I mean, I told Iowa fans, hey, 10-0. No 2-score milker tonight. Eat at the table. Eat all that Braunschweiger. This is fine German food that you're going to rifle through at Wisconsin. Eat it all and run that score up. Still surprised a little bit with the goose egg, but that's a great stat, and that is so. Rob, do you remember how it didn't happen very often, shutouts, but they always kind of ricochet to the room when the defensive guys talk, and a lot of those guys want to show up and talk after a shutout, right?
Especially
Because they
tonight.
all got something good to play, so they're happy as hell.
tonight you had two big guy interceptions too. Aaron Graves and
Yeah.
Hawthorne, Bryce Hawthorne, the transfer from South Dakota State. That's not Mark Gronowski, the other South Dakota State transfer, with the big guy interception tonight. So that was good to see. There's always goofy stuff that happens in the Iowa Wisconsin game, and those were those were certainly would fit
Those
in
will suffice.
category.
Yes.
Yeah. Aaron Graves a half yard short of a touchdown too on that return. That was cruel, man.
I wanted that one for him because the announcer was so adamant that his knee was down. I was like, come on, ball, beat the knee. And it just didn't.
Aaron Graves with the he earned an associate's degree in junior college before he got to Iowa while he was in high school. So that type
Those
of
damn
stuff for
kids.
me is like makes my head
Yeah,
rattle.
yeah, the kids who were organized, man, I couldn't keep my room clean. My goodness.
All right, folks. I think this has run its course. It's 10 o'clock. I'm ready for bed.
Yes.
It's been a
All
long
right.
day. I forget what time next week. What is next week's time?
So next week I'm gonna try to talk Bramwell Camp in the next week
Okay.
because
That works.
no, my sister has invited me up north. I'm gonna go visit
Okay.
my sister north. So I might be able to do it via phone, but I'm gonna try to talk Todd and try and give it a shot. I think he's champing at the bit.
The last I spoke with him, he was conflicted because he had other responsibilities.
Oh, that's right.
with
He might
another
have some. He might
podcast.
have something else. He might have something
But
else.
we could talk to him. He's
Yeah.
gotten farther down the road in that adventure, so maybe he's gotten to the point where he
I
can
keep
hop in.
asking if he wants to do a podcast, and yeah, I'm probably.
We'll work it out.
I wouldn't want to do a podcast with me either.
Hey, we're having fun here. We're forgetting
Yes,
things. We
yes.
forget things throughout the whole podcast. Get names wrong. Need to help each other.
It's like a podcast with remember Jim from Taxi?
Yeah, Jimmy Gutowski, Reverend Jim,
Whoa.
classic character, awesome character.
Yeah. Hey,
70s.
who can't appreciate that reference? Come on.
All-star cast on Taxi, no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
All right, folks, maybe we'll talk about Taxi later. Down the road in the Old Head Hawkeye Rapid Reaction podcast, but that's going to do it for this episode. Again, 37-0. Iowa thrashes the Badgers, and next week it's Penn State and James Franklin limping in the Kinnick Stadium. Somebody will be back to talk to you about that next week, so come back, won't you? Bye.